All right, let me give you some real estate agent tips, guys. One, don't wing it. Scripts buy you time and confidence. And I'm not a big believer in scripts like read what somebody else wrote and just take and try to repeat it verbatim. Whenever there's a script, which you have to understand, a script is the core of an idea. You need to take that core of an idea and make it your own. You want to take it, turn it into something that you can say with confidence. The example I like to give is back in my dating days, I had friends that would go and say things to try to talk to women they were interested in. And I would ask them, what did you say? I mean, they'd say it and it would go great. I said, what did you say? And what they would tell me was so bad. Like, I could never say that. And because I knew I could never say it, whenever I would try to say that, the result was not a surprise. It didn't work so well. But because of how they said it and who they were and how they conducted themselves, it worked. So one of the most important things when it comes to scripts and the ideas of script is to make sure that it is something that's reflective of who you are and how you are. If what you're saying isn't that, it's going to come off as inauthentic. It's going to have the exact opposite result that you want, which is customers are going to believe you less when you say it. So the reason why I like the idea of scripts, figuring out what you're going to say in advance, is it's you planning in advance for what's probably going to happen. I always want to be anticipating my customers. So having the scripted answer of what I expect to say, but giving myself the flexibility to say it in a way that's what the moment calls for, is going to give you the opportunity to prep hearing it come out of your mouth. One of the crazy things that you'll see happen is sometimes somebody will hit you with an objection, right? And you'll be like, as they hit you with the objection, you're like, I got nothing, right? And then 10 minutes later, they hang up the call, you lose the lead, and you think, oh man, if I had only said, right? So you're like, oh man, next time somebody hits me with that, I'm gonna say that for sure, I'm gonna say that. And then somebody a year later gives you the chance. They hit you with the same objection, and you go and you try to say this beautifully smooth, slick line you came up with to completely obliterate that objection. And it comes out like gobbledygook out of your mouth. It's like, it doesn't carry the same weight, and here's the reason why. While you knew what you wanted to say, you never really practiced saying it. And so what you want to do is get the practice of hearing it come out of your mouth. You want to take and have your mouth have the experience of forming the words in that order. Maybe you even want to do it in front of a mirror, depending upon how you do what you do, so you can see the look on your face as you say it. Because one of the other crazy things to be aware of, guys, when it comes to this, is customers have an experience of you as soon as they meet you that you will never have. You are stuck being you, and you will never have the perspective of you that the customer does. So looking in the mirror, saying it out loud, saying it to other people, asking them how they felt about it, is us trying to show maximum empathy to understand our customer and what it's like for them to experience us. So don't be afraid to put time aside to script things, to take and make sure you've said it, that you've practiced it. Get yourself into a talkable state before getting ready to talk to customers so your mouth is more ready to form words and ready to go. But plan ahead. I'm always going to tell you to plan ahead, because great businesses always anticipate their customers. Never get short from a failure to anticipate something that you should have. Another thing is, ask more questions. The best agents are great listeners, but big caveat, stop asking the damn questions so soon. You're walking in the door, you're perceived as a salesperson. When a salesperson comes up and says, hey, how much money do you have to spend today? What's your dream? You look at it as a sales technique. It makes you feel icky, makes you feel dirty. You don't want to do business with this person. I'm going to tell you to ask the questions and be a great listener, but do that after you've made the case that you're the kind of person that deserves truthful answers. So walk in and give value up front. I want to have great things to say up front. In other videos, we talk about understanding the market and what you need to know. Go in, talk about things that whether they work with you or work with somebody else, they're gonna need to know. That is, you make an investment in making sure they get a great result with what they're looking to do. And then after that, start asking the questions. You'll be amazed at how much more honest the answers you get are after you've made the case that you're a person that is A, worthy of the knowledge, has done the work to be a good resource, and 3, has already shown them that you're looking out for them by offering great advice, free of them having any obligation to use your services. Offer first, ask second. If you make the offer good enough up front of what you bring to the table, when you ask questions later, you get much better answers. It's going to make it much easier to get them what they actually want, and it's going to be the foundation of respect and a better relationship with the customer. There's nothing better. There's no downside to it, all right? Always remember that you have the choice. Most real estate agents are taught to overpromise and underdeliver. You've heard the comment before, I'm sure. You need to underpromise and overdeliver. Whenever you get the opportunity, guys, to outperform what their expectations are, to outperform what they've told you, they say, you know what, look, we'll come down on our price to here. Don't advertise it, but we'll come down. See what you could do. They tell you they'll take $5,000 less. You go back and you negotiate, and you only reduce the price by $2,000 instead of $5,000. I gotta tell you, my dealings with real estate agents, if their customer tells them, we'll go down $5,000 in the negotiation, the number that customer gets back is always that $5,000 less or below. Because agents here, I could get a deal done at that number, and they stop caring about the fact that it is their customer's money. It's very important that you keep in mind this is their money, and they're looking out for you. So one of the ways to always over-deliver is when your customer says to you, well, I go here, but offer them this. Try to always get them more than what they said they would take. I give you an example. There was a deal that I did with a customer not too long ago, and it was a family friend that actually was the daughter of a family friend, made me feel very old, I'm not gonna lie to you. They did the inspection of the house. The house was beautiful, everything was perfect with the house, except when they did the inspection, they said the inspector found a soft spot in the roof. And so they were asking for like a $13,000 credit, something like that. I forget what the number was exactly. So my first position was, I talked to my customer and I said, let me go back to them. I'm just gonna tell them no. It's non-starter. That number's no good. You need to go talk to your people. You need to go get a real estimate, not from the home inspector, but from like a real roofer. And let's see what this is. This roof was put on with a permit. It was put on 2 years ago. Everything is fine. It's not even a problem with the roof. It's the underlayment. It's not the underlayment of the roof. It's the decking of the roof. It's got nothing with the waterproofing of the house, right? And I said to the agent, even if it was, we're not going to give you 100% of the money to repair this. You knew this wasn't a brand new house. You had to have a reasonable expectation. Things were going to be worn down. We might help with whatever is going to be found, but we're not going to pay the whole bill. Anyway, agent comes back and she says, all right, we got a roofing contract. We found somebody else, $6,500. They'll fix the whole thing. That's what they want to charge us. We're looking, if your seller will provide us a credit of $3,500, my buyer is prepared to close. So to be clear, we went from $13,000 to $3,500, which seems pretty good, right? So I go back to my seller. I said to the seller, all right, look, we were at $13K. We worked them. We're at $3,500. The seller the husband in particular, is like almost in tears. The husband's like, $3,500, I don't have to do anything. Oh my God, you're wonderful, you're amazing. That's where the story ends, right? No, that's where most agents end the story. They've got a customer that's happy to do a deal. I said to him, well, look, I haven't given him a number yet. Would you give me permission to take and go back and see what I could do? He said, well, yeah, I don't want to blow the deal, but yeah, okay. I went back, I called the other agent up. I said, look, they're a young family. They got 4 kids. They're moving to a different state. They got all this stuff going on. $3,500 is so much money. The agent sighed and she said, oh, all right, Josh, what's the number? I said, look, if you would agree to a $2,500 credit, I will walk back into that room and I will make the seller take it. The agent didn't get off the phone with me and said, $2,500, done. My buyer will do that. What did I buy with that $1,000? I bought a customer that is a raving fan, because if it was any other agent, they know they wouldn't have made that $1,000 back. I wouldn't have gone and got that $1,000 back for them. Most agents find a deal. They find the area where the two parties meet and they say, oh, we've got a deal. But guys, sometimes where they meet, there's an overlap. If there's that overlap, if there's that area in the Venn diagram where we could have some room, I want to come out on the other side of that with as much from my side as I can, because let's be clear, coming out ahead is what they're hiring you to do. So why wouldn't you do everything you can to make sure that they don't just get a deal, but they've come out with terms better than what they thought they were gonna get. So always over-deliver when they have the opportunity. You have to stay consistent. Your future clients are watching even when they're silent. One of the easiest ways I could tell you to do this is doing open houses. The recommendation when doing open houses is knock 100 doors in the surrounding area. Now, even if they don't answer the door or whatever, you're gonna knock 100 doors. Now, here's the reason why you knock 100 doors. It's not about the house you're trying to sell. Every one of those houses you knock on, for the most part, are gonna be other potential future sellers, and you're showing them the way you work for the sellers you already have. Setting that discipline up, whether you're doing the door knocks or people on your team are doing the door knocks, doesn't matter. You are literally auditioning for future business. If you're gonna audition, you never know who's in the crowd watching the audition. So always audition in such a way like you're doing it for the Queen of England or something like that. You don't know who's gonna be there. So always be at your best. You're on stage, put on a great performance always. And guys, when I say a performance, I don't want you to think it's fake or artifice. I want you to make sure that you're just always playing. Like Joe DiMaggio said, I never know if it's the first time a kid's ever gonna see me. When they ask them why he played so hard, I never know if it's the first time a kid's gonna see me play. You owe it to your people to give them your best. You owe it to yourself and your own personal integrity to know that whenever you're on the field, you play your best. Anything short of that, guys, just hurts your own feeling about your business, your own integrity. You know you're not always at your best. And unfortunately, that hurts your confidence when it comes time to ask the customer to sign on the bottom line, whether it's your listings or your buyer's agreements. If you know you're always the goods when you go out in the field, it's very easy to say to the customer, you want to work together? Fantastic. This is the paperwork I need. Let's go get you what you want done. Your confidence comes from knowing that you're the goods. Always be the goods. And look, never stop learning. One of the amazing things that I always see is agents take a bunch of classes early on, just enough to figure out how to take and like fake it till they make it. And then you never see them in a classroom again except when it's time for CE. And if there's an easier way to get CE that doesn't require them to learn anything, that's what they do because they don't prioritize it. Never stop learning. You can make you a more valuable commodity to the market, which literally means the amount of compensation that you should be able to earn will increase. What increases the amount of compensation you're worthy of? The amount of expertise you bring to the table. Well, what are the two ways of getting expertise? Pain and shrapnel, battle wounds picked up in the process of doing the business, or going and learning from somebody else's pain, suffering, and battle wounds from doing the business, yeah? So here's what I'm gonna say to you. Yes, I wear the shirt to cover the shrapnel wounds that I've picked up in this business. There's been the brain damage, the pain and suffering, where I took classes, maybe they explained it and I didn't do what I was supposed to. Maybe I tried what they said and it didn't work. I've learned what works and what doesn't work. My customer's paying for the fact that all of that has gone into what makes me the person who stands in front of them today. Do the work every day in what you learn to make the value of the person standing in front of them as high a value commodity as you possibly can. If the value you bring is rare, their ability to replace you is almost impossible. I want to leave them with an experience where they would never think of replacing me with anyone else. What I know that exceeds what they know is what is going to take and give them that loyalty to me, because what I bring to the table, they don't feel like they can get someplace else. Go out there, be the good. Stop faking it, start being it. Till next time, guys.